Hi guys, welcome back to our new lesson, our weekly lesson. This week I have some really good news for you regarding the AP exam. Last video I checked in with you and we'll let you know that the test was going to be in fact 45 minutes online format from home, which was a little bit overwhelming for a lot of us because we didn't know what to expect as in terms of like what will be tested. All they said was units 1 through 7, and that is a lot. And we didn't see how it would be something feasible to do in 45 minutes. And so in watching the AP updates and conferences, they finally decided that the part that they will be testing will be the rhetorical analysis. That is good news and also bad news. As you know, the rhetorical analysis essay is one of the harder ones to accomplish, but I think at this point, a lot of you are understanding more or less what it is that writers do to achieve a certain purpose and what it is that writers do to persuade an audience or to entertain or to move someone to action. And so the rhetorical analysis, that's exactly what it is. You are looking at the tools of a writer and you are carefully looking at it with a certain, under a certain lens, and then you are breaking it apart. What organization they used. Did they use any type of reasoning, inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning? Did they use an analogy? Did they use some kind of categorization, authorization, a plea even, something, emotionally charged like ethos, pathos, or logos? And so it's good news for the most part, that fact that we know what it's going to be tested. And honestly, in previous years, what we've seen in teaching AP Land is that the rhetorical analysis really does separate the good from the great. Those students that often score higher is because they did well in the AP rhetorical analysis section. And so I'm excited about this because we did get to spend quite a bit of time, at least towards the end of our classes. We did spend some time in trying to, acquire that skill. And in some of your essays that I'm currently grading, the essays that you turned in on Turnitin, I'm seeing some progress. There's still quite a bit of superficial thinking, but I think it's something that we can quickly switch to or practice the skill a little bit more. So the questions that I've been asking you about mother tongue and how to tame a wild tongue, I hope that you enjoyed that one, even though it was quite lengthy, are those types of questions are really rhetorical analysis. I'm wanting you to look at the text in different ways. I'm wanting you to look at the text from a writer's perspective. So you're used to always looking at text from a reading perspective, as in just simply comprehension of the text. Even looking at the claims alone could be, comprehension, summarization. But now with the rhetorical analysis questions, I want you to move beyond that. What were Tang's reasons for describing her mother tongue? And I think I got a few of you answering that, it was her broken English, right? But I think for Tang, it is a little bit further than that. Mother tongue, if we look at mother, it's really the person you came from. And so the fact that she develops her language from her mother tongue, and mother means something that you're born out of. And in culture, if we call a language a mother tongue, that means that whatever language you possess now developed from this native mother tongue. All right. And so, for example, the language Latin, for example, it's a mother tongue. That that Latin has developed many other languages in the world. We have a lot of Latin roots in English, also in Spanish, obviously. But it is a mother tongue, one that shapes everything else. And so for Tang, I think it was very, very important, even though that she does not speak so much of the broken English, if you would, what she likes to call it is the intimate language of her mother. This is really what helped her develop who she is and what she does, and that she's become a writer and in a sense, you know, an expert in using the language. Okay, and so mother tongue has just not just the connotation of being the language that she speaks with her mother and being an intimate language, but also has the meaning that it is the language that helped her own language develop. And so in doing a rhetorical analysis, you go beyond that, beyond what is literally written in the text, as in like, this is my mother's language and this is broken English. And that's how she describes it. But as far as communication, you see her communicating with the stockbroker and the medical personnel in a very formal and very academic tone that make a 16-year-old be taken seriously when her mother, an adult, is not being taken seriously. Even though that language itself came from a very choppy, broken English, that what she calls is her mother's own language. And so how did I get to that analysis? Well, you have to break it apart. Why did she use the anecdote of her mother struggling with medical personnel? What for? What does she want the audience to see through that? And then why did she use the anecdote of her own experience with having her mother in the audience and the mother not being able to perhaps understand her academic language, or her being well aware that she's never spoken this type of English in front of her mother? Okay, what is the effect of her bringing those anecdotes into the text? What does it do for the reader? What does it do to help us understand what she's trying to say? That perhaps broken English may be a reason, not a reason, may be why many people are discriminated. Not that it's correct, but nevertheless, it happens. People are discriminated for their broken English, unfortunately. And what she's saying is that without this broken English, without this mother tongue, there would not be who she is. There would not be what make up at least 50% of our country immigrants. There would not be that identity, because to her, language is her identity. Okay, and she identifies with that because, of course, she's a writer. So with rhetorical analysis, I want you to get into those questions. I want you to get deeper into that. This is what I mean by you taking charge over your own education. Really stop and look at, go beyond the surface of just the text, what it's saying, what happened, what story, what she literally said in the text. What are the meaning behind the strategies that she's using? What effect is she trying to create with a simple analogy, with a simple dialogue? The dialogue that she uses with her mother, the dialogue that she uses with her husband. Why doesn't the husband notice that she speaks that language in broken English? And she does that often around him too. And so what is the effect of that? And that effect that it creates in the reader, how does it help her achieve her purpose? And of course, you have to find the purpose. How do I get to that? Okay, well, simply ask yourself, what is she trying to accomplish with this text? Like, what is she saying? What's so important about language? Okay. And in fact is that language portrays who you might be, or it's some sort of identity. And so perhaps in her mother's case, she was being seen as uneducated for not having the language. And that made her be taken advantage of by medical professional personnel. And so it's something that Tang is clearly making us aware of, that language could be a reason or the cause of discrimination, or it could be the cause for many things. Okay, so your language is your way in or your way out. That's exactly what she might be saying. All right, so sorry. I would like for you to get deeper into the text that I am assigning to you. I'm trying to keep it to two assignments per week because I know some of those are lengthier. I'm not going to assign anything lengthier than the Anzaldua piece. That was rather lengthy, but it was necessary for you to read something that might be relevant to you. Okay, and How to Tame a Wild Tongue. We see the same kind of thinking that language is our identity. And in this case, Anzaldua does not care. Did some of you struggle understanding her code switching from Spanish to English? Did you see that she did not translate for you? And in fact, she does not apologize. All right. And so what effect does that create in the reader? So two kinds of readers here. There's those of you that know Spanish and were seemingly reading the text without any problems. And then there was those of you that are not very familiar with some of the Spanish terminology that she's using, and we're having to ask or Google or look for definitions everywhere. And so that frustrated you. It frustrated you because it was a lengthier piece and because there was tons of code switching, right? So there's two kinds of audiences there. And she does mention, I will not apologize, because apologizing means that you're not going to validate my own language, and therefore you're not validating my identity, okay? And so what is her purpose here? Anzaldua's purpose. What does she want with this piece? And Anzaldua's purpose here, I believe it is to make you aware that, again, language may be an identity. And two, to validate the type of language that is spoken in the Valley. Since we were cut off geographically from other Spanish countries, Spanish-speaking countries, or other Spanish-speaking populations, what we have is not incorrect Spanish, but in fact archaic Spanish, which is a very old form of Spanish, like the one that the Spaniards brought with them. In that case, correct Spanish. Archaic. It's an outdated form of Spanish that we inherited. And she does give very specific examples in the text, as you read. One that I can remember right now is something like, she talks about dropping the S's at the end of the words. And right now in modern Spanish association, the modern Spanish speaking countries would frown upon the way that Valley people speak because it sounds wrong. But it is not wrong. It is archaic. And that's what she's trying to advocate. You're looking at us like if we were uneducated, the kind of broken, even broken Spanish, she might mention, kind of like what Tang was talking about, broken English. Well, she's referring to Spanish as well, because she's kind of in between. And she talks about all the kinds of Spanishes and all the kinds of Englishes that she's able to use back and forth. So think about those, the factors that she is trying to help us see about our own language and our own identity. Okay. And the claims that she's making, we are not speaking the incorrect Spanish. In fact, we are speaking an archaic language, which is equivalent to something that you would find. Let's say, for example, you pick up a Bible and Old English, King James Version, and the thus and the thee. Okay, it's the same thing that she's talking about in Spanish. Okay, and then when she talks about her Englishes, now they are influenced by that archaic language that she already possesses. They're influenced by the way she speaks. Some of you in your responses were writing that you are influenced mostly by your peers. Some of you said that you're influenced by your family. But interestingly enough, I have seen you perhaps in open houses and in other occasions, you speaking to your parent in one way and then speaking to me in another way. And it's not necessarily wrong. It's just, I see the difference. And this is what she's talking about, the influences that we have, those mother tongues that we possess already that shape our identity, that shape our new developed language that we are able to interchange everywhere. Okay? Anyway, got a little carried away there because we didn't have a chance to discuss the text. But the good news is that now we know what the AP exam is going to be testing us on. And so my goal here is to help you develop those skills by giving you some text to read and analyze, and giving you some AP style prompts that you can definitely practice your skill with. All right. This next assignment is going to be something that you can do on your own, step by step, kind of. I also want to turn the attention to, let me share my screen here with you. Our notes, if you don't have them, I'll upload them to Google Classroom there. Remember how we begin. These notes have come in really, really handy. Remember to begin with the soapstone or the précis. And the précis is, of course, the format, the little template that I provide you with. I'll go ahead and upload it to Google Classroom as well. So remember these notes, you have that with you. When you are writing the essay, follow the notes. If you feel comfortable enough to deviate from them, okay, good for you. But this is a good resource to have. All right. If you don't have it, I'm gonna upload it. Go ahead and upload it to Google Classroom in case you left it in the class or something. All right. Okay. One other thing I wanted to make you aware of. Let's see here. I forgot. All right, well, if you have questions, I'm gonna go ahead and schedule a Zoom for this week. At the end of the week, probably, maybe Thursday, we could do a Zoom for question and answer. In the meantime, I'm going to assign you a text, one that I think you'll enjoy. This is something more contemporary from Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. I'm going to give you a little small excerpt that also talks about language and his experience with language, being that he speaks several languages himself. Anyways, I'll let you read it. It's rather short, but I am going to ask you not to put off the homework, okay? Some of you were overwhelmed with the amount of homework that you were getting last week, and I understand. It does take some adjustment, and it does take some time management. I know that you're having to juggle with your chores, and you're having to juggle with, sessions. By the way, nobody should be keeping you for 2-hour sessions on Zoom, just so you know. Just know that we are being asked to be a little bit more flexible with our deadlines, and but the expectations still remain for the AP exam. You know what you want to accomplish this semester, this year. So if you want to take it seriously, then practice the skill, because we might not get another opportunity like this for a whole AP credit on one essay. I feel like perhaps this is a good opportunity for you to get the AP credit for this year. All right. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to take quite a bit of time, but the more practice you put into it, the better you're going to do. All right. So I'm going to give you a template for a very guided essay. And then I'm going to give you a AP style essay. It might not be related to language. I'll try and find one, but I can't promise you anything. It is going to be timed, so I'm going to create kind of like an assignment there on Google Classroom and have you write, but doesn't mean that you can't use notes. This is a thing about testing at home, but you can, like, during practices, definitely use your notes, right? Until to the point where you memorize notes or you know the process. Read the text, break it up into sections. Identify the purpose, identify all the claims, identify the strategies, and then take it from there. All right. And so I think that it's something that you can do. I really do feel that way. And so I'm really excited about the good news. I do want to warn you, though, that it's not going to come easy without practice. All right. And so I'm not trying to pile on the homework, especially when we have so little guidance. But at this point in the year, I do feel like we've done what we've done. And I feel like you need to be practicing the skill. All right. Don't put off the homework to the very last minute, because you know that there's reading involved as well as writing. And so please manage your time. I cannot stress it enough. I know your parents have chores and duties for you to do at home, and you have all kinds of interruptions with your siblings and the young ones also competing for like computers and whatnot to turn in their own assignments. And I understand that, I do. But I feel like you set some time aside for yourself, to dedicate some time to the test that you want to take seriously. All right. Take it one step at a time. Of course, the most important thing right now, it's your health. Stay healthy, stay home. I hope that, at the end of the year, we could see each other again and we could, discuss and celebrate the good things that are happening. Alrighty. I think that's it for this video. I will check in with you at the end of the week. In the meantime, I am available on Google Classroom and on Remind. I try to get to those messages as soon as I can, believe me. I'm also, manage my time, and then having to split up between planning and having to split up within grading, and then mothering and homeschooling and everything else, how it goes. So let me know if you have questions. And for this week, that is it. I miss you guys. Can't tell you enough how much I miss you, but hang in there. We're doing the right thing. We're staying home, keeping everyone safe. Take care of your loved ones, and we'll see you on the next one. Love you guys. Bye-bye.